Howdy guys, welcome back to Deal by Deal. This is episode 33, and this is Kitty Stimson that works on my team. If you haven't met her before, this is Kitty.
Hi everybody.
I'm trying to invite more people on my Deal by Deal episodes to make it a little bit more natural and more conversational instead of me just talking into the camera. And a little bit ago back at the office, we were talking about how sometimes deals aren't really worth it as a realtor when we're selling properties. We usually get paid a percentage, and we can adjust that percentage if it's not worth it or whatever. But as we get more established and successful in sales, there's deals that are so small that we really just don't have time for. And that's how I came across this deal. It wasn't one that I didn't have time for. This is in 2018. It was one that a colleague at the time, was a broker now, was Brian, had a client who wanted to sell a couple pretty low value lots out in Meadow Lakes. They're low land, not very valuable lots. And so he asked if I wanted to broker them or buy them, and I'm like, well, I'm not brokering them. The guy wanted like $5,000 for them. This is a while ago, and they were not very quality lot. It's only 6 years ago, but the values changed a lot. These particular lots were, like I mentioned, low land, and what that means is it would be very expensive to put a septic in. So all of a sudden you buy a cheap lot and you put in a $20,000 or $30,000 septic, and you still have a low quality lot. So the guy just wanted like $5,000 for him, and no matter what percentage you're charging, that's like not worth a realtor's time for all the paperwork. You're literally gonna lose money if you do something like that.
All those hours of work put in.
Yeah, you're marketing it, you're driving out there showing it to tire kickers or whatever, and so I figured from my background of selling all these owner finance stuff that I'd be able to sell it for the $5,000 he was asking was not very much. I knew I could sell it for more than that, and especially if I offered owner finance. So I drove by and looked at them, and I said, yeah, I'll pay $5,000 for those, and just paid them cash for those two lots. I've used that as an example a bunch of times when people ask, why do you work at Keller Williams instead of other brokerages? Because different brokerages have different cost structures and different benefits. When you work at a brokerage where not only do people get along, which I think probably most brokerages they do, but also a brokerage that has the more number of people. Keller Williams is the biggest brokerage here locally. You're talking to more colleagues that have more opportunities. So it's not just for stuff like that for me, but also for clients. We put deals together a lot of times that never end up on the market because the buyer and seller just want a clean transaction, and we've got a bigger network of people to do. So that's one of the benefits of why I like it here, one of many. But that's what happened. I was able to go buy that deal. Brian didn't want a commission or anything. He's just like, take care of my guy, and I paid him what he was asking for at $5,000, and then I turned around and got it on the market for owner finance.
That's fantastic. What's an owner finance deal like that look like?
So this one was actually pretty funny. I put it on there probably on Craigslist at the time, maybe Facebook. I think Craigslist is where I was getting most of my owner finance buyers. And I think I put it on for 10 or 12. I think it was $12,000 because I was trying to stretch the price and be optimistic on what I could get for it with owner financing. And a younger gentleman came out and looked at it and said, yeah, I want that, but I'd have to sell my motorcycle. And so I was like, well, okay, if you need to sell your motorcycle, what's it worth, or what are you trying to sell it for? And he had this, I think it was called a Honda Shadow. If I'm screwing that up, motorcycle people, I apologize. I'm not a motorcycle person, but he brought over this street bike that looked cool. It wasn't real new, but everything ran, everything was good, and he was willing to put that in as the down payment. And I think what he wanted for it, or what I credited him for, was like $2,000 as his down payment. And he had a job, I don't remember what he was doing, but he had a job that he could make the payments on this land. I think the payments were like $200 or $300, but remember, I only paid $5,000 for it plus some closing costs, and then I got the bike as a down payment. And I don't think he put any cash on top of that. I figured that's fine, and we'll go from there. And then he made his payments like clockwork, and I think he ended up paying it off a little bit early.
That's fantastic. I love when deals can get creative like that. A lot of people think they just need a whole bunch of cash to be able to get into this business, and you just don't.
A lot of time, cash definitely helps, but this isn't the first motorcycle I've taken, and I mentioned I'm not a motorcycle person. I've ridden a couple dirt bikes, but I don't have my motorcycle license to ride them on the street or anything. You can get into vehicles. You can get into properties using vehicles or other property or all kinds of things when you're doing owner finance and creative type of things like that. So it's a really cool deal. My total profit, because I turned around and sold the bike. So I turned around and sold it. I never rode it because it was actually a little bit big for me. I'm a skinny guy, and this bike weighed a lot. And I don't really ride them and didn't want to wreck it. So I just turned around and sold it. Young military kid came and bought it. He was very excited to have it. I think I got what I credited him for, so I gave him $2,000 worth of credit, and I got $2,000 for the bike. So if you look at the total profit on that deal, it was about $7,000 minus some closing costs, so maybe $6,000. That's not the type of deal that changes your world.
No.
But there's a lot of little deals like that out there that can be just scooped up. Like my effort into that was minimal. I drove by it before I decided to buy it, and I don't think I drove by it again until after it was sold because I didn't need to go by. You know, I'd send a person a map, say, yeah, just go drive by, tell me what you think. And then there's paperwork and answering phone calls and screening, you know, questions and stuff. But my total hours into that was probably less than 5, and I made $6,000. Of course, it was over, you know, not only the hours, I did have $5,000 invested in it, and it took, you know, a couple years for it to pay it off or whatever. But then to follow that full circle, I don't remember what the deal by deal episode is. Actually, we haven't gotten to it yet because this one was first. He paid that off, and a few years later, I think in 2020 or 2021, so 2 or 3 years later, he bought another property from me on owner finance. It was a step up, had a little house on it to fix. And so that time I was really comfortable selling it to him, both because he had more down payment in cash to work with, but not a huge amount. But I knew that the kid could make payments. I'm calling him a kid. You know, he's an adult, obviously, but younger than me and ambitious. And so he bought 2 properties from the owner finance, and you know, getting into them creative. Neither property were something you could get a bank loan on. One was low quality vacant land for, you know, 10 or 12 grand, and the other one was a house, you know, that just needed everything. So
That's really awesome. I like seeing people get into those deals where just nobody else will touch it.
Yep.
Nobody else will touch it, and it looks like it's a worthless deal, but to us agents, those connections and relationships are lifelong.
yeah, exactly. I was talking to you and Sam about that a little bit ago, where you never, like, of course, sometimes you just have to turn down business because it's just not worth your time. You never know when a small $5,000 deal is something I can buy and make $6,000 off of, and then he becomes a good buyer later in a deal that I made quite a bit more money, and there's a decent chance he'll use me again as his realtor if he goes to upgrade again or sell that other property. So it's one of those things where you never know. You know, don't judge a book or a deal by its cover and just think that the small commission that you're going to get out of that is necessarily all the business or benefit or relationship that you're going to get out of that. So
Absolutely.
I guess the moral of the story is don't discard the little deals. You can always make a profit selling stuff on owner finance, and stay creative and be willing to take, you know, the motorcycle or whatever. I think I've mentioned on the channel before that I used to put in my ads, and I probably did on that one too, is that I'll take anything of value as a down payment. And that's probably how I got that sale, is because, you know, he called up and said, hey, I got this bike. So just stay creative out there. Thanks for watching, and thanks for joining me.
Thanks, Tyler.
Have a nice day.
You too.
If you guys have any real estate needs whatsoever, please reach out. In the meantime, please like, subscribe, share, follow, comment, and you can find me on any of these other places that you enjoy your content. So thanks very much. Really appreciate it.